If you haven't seen me in a while, that's because I've been moving. I've been really busy. But there's something that just keeps coming up and it just really annoys me. And so I'm going to talk about that today. Is science a new religion? Is it fact? All you hear on TV these days are politicians with no science background proclaiming that we should defer all decisions to unelected scientists and we must follow the science. Having a fairly extensive background in science and math, particularly physics, I cringe at this statement. Let me point out some notable science we're supposed to follow. During COVID, a well known and respected scientist did a YouTube video that went viral. He told people they must have groceries delivered to the home, then left outdoors for 3 days. After 3 days, you should go out and spray them with disinfectant and soak any produce in tubs of water. Dr. Fauci proclaimed that face masks are bad for you and should not be worn, before he decided they were good for you and should always be worn. The WHO, the World Health Organization, released a statement telling us that asymptomatic people will rarely transmit the virus to others. Meanwhile, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, told us that asymptomatic people were highly contagious. Al Gore's famous movie, An Inconvenient Truth, in 2006, claimed that there was an indisputable science that in a few years the world would be under a 20-foot rise in sea level. However, in 2008, the IPCC, the International Panel on Climate Change, released a statement that sea levels would rise between 1/2 foot to 2 feet over the next 100 years. When I was in high school, scientists said definitively that we were quickly heading into an ice age as a result of our fossil fuel use. Then a decade later, we're told that we're facing global warming. When those statements failed over the next few decades, it was then called climate change. I mean, no one can argue there's climate change, so it's hard to be wrong on that one. Also, when I was in high school, we were taught there were four methods of creation. The one that had the least respect and was in fact ridiculed was the Big Bang Theory. That didn't hold up well, did it? In the 17th century, the famous Dr. Beddoes in England made claim and wrote a paper that the cure for the ongoing TB tuberculosis epidemic, he said that you need to bring cows into the house and breathe their breath. You needed to surround the bed of a sick person and let them breathe in cow smells from both ends, because that was a cure. And he came to this conclusion because he noticed butchers never seemed to get TB. Also in the 1600s, it was claimed that you could eliminate mental illness by transfusing lamb's blood into the patient. That did not have good results, as you can imagine. Science from the Latin means knowledge. Science does not provide real answers, it's a never ending, ongoing search for them. It's really the pursuit of understanding. It uses a systematic methodology called scientific method to attempt to make sense of the unknown. In short, they're educated, or maybe we could say uneducated, guesses subject to change. Conclusions are not really definitive. It's more of a, that sounds right, until something else comes along to upend that opinion. Historically, the majority of science based facts are upended with new information. When people say follow the science, the meaning that should be taken is that it's a search for truth, not the truth. Let's juxtapose this with religion, which many of those same people in politics scoff at and think it's fantasy. I mean, socialists want to eliminate religion and place all belief and power into the state. If people believe science is infallible, the state has total control. Follow the science becomes obey the state. The Christian religion continues to be found historically accurate. Think about this. Every biblical related discovery over the past few thousand years has supported the stories of the Bible, while not one discovery has refuted or proven wrong a single thing. That track record's astounding. Whether you're a believer or not, it's it's an amazing track record. Yet belief depends on faith. Perhaps after thousands of years, you could understand how some would refer to it as fact. Let's once more look at the track record of scientific fact. Well, let's see. We got bloodletting, leeches, drinking radium water. Gasoline cures lice. Morphine is great for teething babies. Mercury, a heavy metal, is a cure for syphilis. Hydroelectric baths cures migraines and breathing. But what about the climate scientists' so called consensus that the end of mankind will be upon us in 2030? Well, didn't the Mayans claim it was 2012 before it was June 21st, 2020? Oops. When a politician tells you to follow the science, understand they're using it as an authority to shut down any discussion or dissent. Otherwise, you become a science denier, and therefore, you're dirt under the shoes.